the true heavyweight. Tom Aspinall couldn't make 225 because he's ripped at 255.
Yeah. But realistically, he's done it all. He knocked out Magomed Ankalaev in 69, 59 seconds, whatever it was. He smoked him. It was very, very fast, okay? And the man is gigantic, and he's not getting any younger. And of course, we have the whole situation with Tom Aspinall. Now, you might have seen this post that was doing the rounds recently, okay? A couple of days ago, I saw something. It was very alarming. People all over Twitter, Josh Thompson was one of them. So I thought there was some credibility to this. They said that the UFC...
Alex Pereira just confirmed he's coming for Tom Aspinall's heavyweight belt. And this isn't some casual weight jump. This is a calculated invasion by a man who's already conquered 2 divisions and now wants to make history as the first 3-division champion in UFC history. We're talking about a fighter who throws hands like guided missiles, stepping into a division where he won't have to drain himself down to 205 pounds anymore. And Tom Aspinall. He's about to face the most dangerous test of his entire career.
It really wasn't. He shouldn't be getting any shit or any blame here. But he is, which is just weird, right?
The reports are out that the UFC asked Tom Aspinall to vacate the title until he was ready to go. And he said he'd be willing to vacate the title as long as they released him. Now, that opens the door so he can go ahead and box.
But he just had surgery, okay? And he isn't going to be fighting anytime soon. And when they said they went to Tom and asked him to vacate...
Alex, here's what everyone's missing about this situation. Pereira isn't just moving up in weight because he's bored or looking for an easy payday. The man has been cutting brutal weight to make light heavyweight, and those cuts have been absolutely destroying his body. Every time he steps on that scale at 205, he's literally draining the life out of himself just to make weight. Now imagine that same knockout power, that same precision, but without having to sacrifice 25 pounds of muscle and strength. We're talking about a completely different animal here. And the timing? Absolutely perfect. Aspinall's been dealing with injury issues, he's been out of action, and now he's got this phantom menace lurking in the background, knowing that Pereira is coming for everything he's built.
He said, do you want to step away from the belt, okay, whilst the division moves on, and when you're ready to come back, you fight for the belt straight away. And the rumor was that he said, I'll do that as long as you release me from my contract so I can go and box, right? And everyone was saying, oh, this is really happening. Turns out it's not. It's bullshit, okay?
This is #1 bullshit.
Tom's waiting to make his comeback. He's still very much the heavyweight champion of the world. The 3rd champion to come from England. Shout out Big Tom. And I'm looking forward to the comeback. Now, because of that, that's when Alex Pereira comes into the fold and he says 1, 2, 3 and go, right?
But here's where it gets absolutely wild. Pereira isn't just threatening Aspinall's belt, he's threatening to rewrite the entire history of mixed martial arts. Think about what we're looking at here. Middleweight champion, light heavyweight champion, and now he's explicitly targeting the heavyweight crown. That's never been done before, ever. We've seen fighters move up 1 division and find success, but 3 divisions, that's entering mythical territory, and the psychological warfare has already begun. Every time Aspinall steps into the gym, every time he's rehabbing that injury, he knows there's a 2-division champion actively hunting him. That's not just physical pressure, that's mental torture.
Versus Alex Pereira, or as I always said, Alex Pereira versus Cyril Gane for an interim title. Now, I don't know what's going on with the whole stuff with Tom. Apparently he came out and he said, I'm still very much the champion. That's great to hear. Do not walk away from this sport, Tom. Do not let the fans get to you, right? They're a fickle crowd. I was hated beyond belief.
Now let's talk about what this means for the heavyweight division itself. This isn't some aging legend looking for one last payday. This is a fighter in his absolute prime, coming off devastating knockouts, who's about to enter a division where his natural power will be completely unleashed. No more weight cuts, no more draining his body, just pure, unadulterated knockout power at his natural walking weight. And here's the kicker, heavyweight is traditionally the slowest division in the UFC. These guys hit like trucks, but they don't have the speed and precision that Pereira brings from the lower weight classes. So you're looking at a fighter with light heavyweight speed carrying heavyweight power. That combination has never existed before.
But the fans of mixed martial arts, just like any sport, they're very fickle, okay? Right? Love you all, by the way. Now, here is what Tom posted recently, and I just want to talk about this quickly. He said, I love mixed martial arts. I'll never stop loving it, but I just hate the business. I think that fighters are completely replaceable.
You heard Aspinall's.
And get this, the business side of this is absolutely insane. Dana White and the UFC brass are probably losing their minds over the potential numbers this fight could generate. We're talking about a potential 3-division champion against the most exciting heavyweight prospect in years. The pay-per-view numbers alone would be astronomical. But here's what's really crazy about the whole situation. Pereira is essentially playing with house money at this point. He's already got 2 belts. If he loses to Aspinall, he's still a 2-division champion. But if he wins, he becomes the most legendary fighter in UFC history overnight. Meanwhile, Aspinall is defending his home turf against a guy who's never even fought at heavyweight before, and somehow he's the one with everything to lose.
And certainly, when he wasn't the person at fault, he wasn't. But this is the world that we live in. It just is. The show must go on. I went through multiple eye surgeries. I wasn't in constant communication with the UFC. They weren't calling on me and checking on me. The only time I got a phone call off Dana White was when he called me, and I'm not talking shit, by the way. They got a business to run. They got a worldwide massive corporation to run, putting on the best fights on the planet, okay? And if someone gets hurt...
You heard it. But wait, it gets even more intense when you really break down the stylistic matchup. Pereira's is incredibly technical for a heavyweight. The guy moves like he's 20 pounds lighter than he actually is. His speed, his footwork, his ability to mix striking and grappling, that's what makes him so dangerous in the heavyweight division. But here's the problem: he's never faced anyone like Aspinall. This is a guy who doesn't just knock people out, he erases them from consciousness with single shots. And we're talking about a fighter who's about to be completely unburdened by weight cuts for the first time in years. Every punch Pereira throws at heavyweight is going to carry the kind of power that ends careers, not just fights.
I talk about that all the time. The sport of boxing still moves on. If you get hurt at work and you can't do your job on a Monday morning, the business still continues. Their factory still goes on. The milk still gets delivered. The cow still gets slaughtered, right? Whatever it is, Amazon drivers are still making the deliveries. Just because John, your usual driver, twists his ankle and can't go to work, the show still goes on. I am not...
Here's something nobody's talking about, though. The mental aspect of this whole situation is already working in Pereira's favor. Aspinall has been dealing with injury problems, he's been questioning his place in the sport, and now he's got this looming threat that gets bigger every day. Every interview where Pereira talks about moving to heavyweight, every training video he posts, every social media update, it's all psychological warfare. And Pereira knows exactly what he's doing. This is a guy who's been in championship fights across multiple divisions. He understands how to get inside an opponent's head long before they ever step into the octagon together.
If he isn't fighting anytime soon, and it certainly doesn't look like he's fighting anytime soon, then this 1, 2, 3 and go from Alex Pereira, to me, is clear as day. He's fighting for a 3rd belt sometime soon. Or maybe he's not. Maybe he's talking out of his ass. Remember, he said that he got hacked recently. There was someone else recently as well saying they get hacked. It kind of drives me crazy. Anytime someone puts something on Twitter or Instagram or whatever, and then they get a little bit of back.
And let me tell you something about championship pressure at the heavyweight level. This isn't like the other divisions where you can make a mistake and recover. At heavyweight, especially against someone like Pereira, one mistake ends everything. One moment of hesitation, one slight slip in footwork, one dropped hand, and your entire legacy gets rewritten in the worst possible way. Aspinall knows this. He knows that he's not just defending a belt, he's defending his entire identity as the future of the heavyweight division. And on the other side, Pereira knows that this is his chance to do something that's never been done before in the history of the sport.
Posted something, you felt a certain way, you said your little tweets, and then you got a ton of shit and a ton of backlash, and then you just went, oh, I was hacked, right? And Alex Pereira has said the same thing in the past, and maybe he'll say the same thing about this. But going back to what I say, Alex Pereira deserves a 3rd shot at the belt. If Tom is on the sidelines right now, and John Jones is actually retired because of all the arthritis in his hips, right? If he is walking away, right, then he is, Alex Pereira, the next guy, the most logical guy. He's done it all at light heavyweight. There isn't really anyone there for him anyway. Yeah, of course, Khalil Roundtree wants another pop. Of course, Yuri Prochazka cried his eyes out just at seeing.
But here's the reality check that everyone needs to understand. Pereira moving to heavyweight isn't just about adding another belt to his collection. This is about proving that he's the most complete, most dangerous fighter on the planet. When you can dominate 3 different weight classes, when you can carry that knockout power across 45 pounds of weight difference, you're not just a champion anymore. You're a force of nature. And the scary part, he's not even in his physical prime yet. This move to heavyweight might actually extend his career, because he won't be destroying his body with those brutal weight cuts anymore.
Pereira's done it all, and the man is gigantic for 205. He would probably walk around 240 pounds. He could put a bit of muscle on, walk around at 250, and go knock the out of almost everyone at light heavyweight.
So here you have it. Alex Pereira has officially declared war on the heavyweight division. Tom Aspinall is about to face the biggest test of his career, and we're potentially witnessing the birth of the greatest fighter in UFC history. This isn't just about who hits harder or who's more technical. This is about legacy, about making history, about proving that some fighters transcend the normal limitations of the sport. And honestly, I think we're about to see something absolutely legendary unfold. So here's my question for you, drop it in the comments. Do you think Pereira can actually pull off the impossible and become a 3-division champion? Or is Aspinall going to defend his throne and prove that heavyweight is different than any other division? If this breakdown got you hyped for what's coming next, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell because this story is just getting started. The heavyweight division is about to get turned completely upside down, and you don't want to miss a single moment of what happens next. I'll see you in the next one.
All over the place, but you know, he's very light on his feet, you know, and he's very French, and he's got the flair, and he's got the ballet, and he's got the pa, he's got the punch you in the face. I don't know what I'm doing, okay, I've lost the plot. I've been sitting here by myself in this room, losing my goddamn mind, because Alex Pereira is gonna fight for a 3rd belt, the only person to ever do it. That will mean he is, by far, the most successful person to ever step foot in the UFC's hallowed octagon. What do you think? Am I crazy? Am I talking out of my arse? How do you feel about Tom? And if you're watching this, Tom, just ignore all the shit online, because those people could never dream of what you have done and achieving the levels of greatness that you have. They could never dream about it, so they talk shit online. Just ignore all them. They don't matter.
But hold up, because there's something absolutely crucial that nobody's considering in this whole equation. What happens if Pereira actually pulls this off? What happens to the entire structure of the UFC when one man holds 3 championship belts simultaneously? We're not just talking about defending one title every few months anymore. We're talking about a logistical nightmare that could completely reshape how the promotion operates. Think about it, 3 different divisions, all waiting for their champion to defend. 3 different sets of contenders, all building up momentum, all demanding their shot. The UFC has never had to deal with anything like this before, and honestly, I'm not sure the sport is ready for what comes next.
In the meantime, if Tom is on the sidelines for a while, which it looks like it is, in the meantime, there's an opportunity for Alex Pereira. Would it be Cyril Gane? It would have to be Cyril Gane. Cyril Gane was fighting for the belt against Tom. Yes, he poked him in the eye. Yes, he was the person that committed the foul. And yes, he might be the guy that gets rewarded with another major title fight, right? But that's the world we live in, right? It's not a fair world sometimes, okay? And some people might think that's crazy, but as I said before, the show still goes on. What do you think about everything that I just said? Do you think Alex Pereira will be fighting for a 3rd belt, or am I 1, 2, 3 times out of my goddamn mind? Thanks for watching. Subscribe, ring the bell. The dog's barking. It's time to wrap this video up.
And here's where it gets absolutely mind-bending. Pereira isn't just threatening to become a 3-division champion. He's threatening to become an active 3-division champion. This isn't some ceremonial belt collector who wins titles and then vacates them. This is a guy who's been defending his light heavyweight belt consistently while simultaneously campaigning for fights at heavyweight. The man's work ethic is absolutely insane. While other fighters are taking 6-month breaks between camps, Pereira is staying in fight shape year-round, constantly looking for the next challenge. That level of activity across 3 divisions would be unprecedented in combat sports history. But let's dive deeper into what this means for the actual fight itself. Aspinall has built his entire heavyweight career on being the faster, more athletic big man. He's used to having a speed advantage over traditional heavyweights who are slow and plodding. But now he's facing someone who's been living at light heavyweight speed for years, someone whose reflexes have been sharpened by fighting the fastest, most technical strikers in the world. Pereira's been trading shots with guys like Jamahal Hill and Jiri Prochazka, fighters who throw lightning-fast combinations with genuine knockout power. Aspinall has never faced that level of speed combined with that level of precision at heavyweight. And here's something that should absolutely terrify everyone in the heavyweight division. Pereira's knockout power has been devastating at 205 pounds, where he's been weight drained and depleted. Now imagine that same left hook, that same precision, but with an extra 25 pounds behind it. We're not just talking about knockout power anymore, we're talking about life-altering damage. The man has been dropping light heavyweights with single shots while operating at probably 80% of his natural strength. At heavyweight, at his natural walking weight, completely hydrated and at full power. That's a terrifying proposition for anyone brave enough to stand across from him. But here's what makes this situation even more incredible. The heavyweight division has been crying out for a star, for someone who can capture the imagination of casual fans the way that Chuck Liddell or Tito Ortiz did in the early days. And now, they might be getting the biggest star in the entire sport voluntarily moving up to their division. Pereira brings a level of mainstream recognition that heavyweight hasn't seen in years. His knockouts go viral across all social media platforms. His fights become must-see television. The heavyweight division is about to inherit the most marketable fighter in the UFC, and that changes everything about how these fights get promoted and presented. Now let's talk about something that's flying completely under the radar in all of this. Pereira's team and training camp are about to undergo a massive transformation. You can't just show up to heavyweight and expect the same training methods that worked at light heavyweight to be effective. They're going to have to completely restructure his strength and conditioning program. Instead of maintaining weight cuts, they're going to be focused on building functional mass and power. His sparring partners are going to have to change. His entire approach to fight preparation is going to evolve. And here's the crazy part, this could actually make him even more dangerous than he already is. But wait, there's another layer to this that nobody's discussing. The psychological impact on the entire heavyweight roster. Right now, every single heavyweight contender is watching this situation develop and realizing that their path to the title might have just gotten infinitely more complicated. Guys like Curtis Blades, Cyril Gane, and Sergey Pavlovich have been grinding for years to get their shot at heavyweight gold. Now they're potentially looking at a situation where they have to get through not just the current champion, but also a two-division champion who's moving up specifically to collect a third belt. That's got to be absolutely devastating for morale in the heavyweight division. And here's something that should give everyone chills. Pereira has never been hurt in the UFC, not rocked, not dropped, not even visibly stunned. This is a guy who's been in wars with some of the most dangerous strikers in the world, and he's never even looked vulnerable. His chin has been tested by the best light heavyweights on the planet, and it's never failed him. Now he's moving to a division where he won't have to drain himself with weight cuts anymore, where his recovery will be better, where his chin will actually be stronger because he's not dehydrating his brain before every fight. That's a terrifying combination of durability and power that the heavyweight division has never seen before. But let's get real about what Aspinall is walking into here. This isn't just another title defense. This is potentially the most high-stakes fight in heavyweight history. If he loses to Pereira, he doesn't just lose his belt, he loses his identity as the future of the division. He becomes the guy who got steamrolled by someone moving up from light heavyweight. That kind of loss doesn't just set your career back, it defines your entire legacy, and the pressure of knowing that is going to be immense. Every training session, every media obligation, every moment leading up to this fight, Aspinall is going to be carrying the weight of knowing that his entire career could be defined by this one performance. Here's what's absolutely wild about the timeline of all this. Pereira is coming off arguably the most impressive knockout of his entire career, and instead of taking time to celebrate or recover, he's immediately setting his sights on an even bigger challenge. That level of ambition is almost superhuman. Most fighters would be content to defend their current titles a few more times, maybe think about moving up in a year or two. Not Pereira. The man sees an opportunity to make history, and he's going after it immediately. That killer instinct, that refusal to be satisfied with what he's already accomplished, that's what separates legends from regular champions. And let me tell you something about the technical aspects that make this matchup so fascinating. Aspinall's biggest advantage has always been his ability to mix striking and grappling seamlessly. He can hurt you on the feet and then finish you on the ground. But here's the problem. Pereira's takedown defense has been absolutely elite throughout his UFC career. Light heavyweights with world-class wrestling credentials have tried to take him down, and they've failed consistently. His balance, his footwork, his ability to stuff takedowns while maintaining his striking offense, it's been phenomenal. So Aspinall's usual game plan of mixing things up might not be as effective as it's been against traditional heavyweights. But here's where it gets even more interesting from a strategic standpoint. Pereira has been studying heavyweight fights for months now, preparing for this move. He's been analyzing the tendencies of the division, understanding the pace, figuring out how to adapt his style to the heavyweight rhythm. Meanwhile, Aspinall has been dealing with injuries and hasn't been able to dedicate that same level of preparation to studying Pereira's game. That preparation advantage could be absolutely crucial in a fight where both guys have the power to end things with a single shot. And let's talk about something that could be the deciding factor in this entire fight: conditioning. Heavyweight fights have a completely different pace than light heavyweight fights. The rounds are longer, the recovery time between exchanges is different, and the overall cardio demands are unique to the division. Pereira has been operating in a faster-paced environment for his entire UFC career. His conditioning has been built around the speed and intensity of light heavyweight fights. But here's the thing: heavyweight conditioning might actually be easier for him to maintain now that he's not cutting weight. He won't be starting his training camps already depleted from previous weight cuts. His body will be operating at full capacity from day one of camp. Now here's something that should absolutely blow your mind about this whole situation. If Pereira wins the heavyweight title, he won't just be the first three-division champion. He'll be the most active three-division champion in combat sports history. This isn't a guy who's going to sit on his accomplishments. He's already talking about continuing to defend all three belts. Can you imagine the chaos that would create in the UFC? Three divisions essentially revolving around one fighter's schedule. Contenders in three different weight classes, all waiting for their shot at the same guy. It would be the most complex championship situation in the history of professional fighting. But let's get back to the immediate threat that Aspinall is facing. Pereira's left hook is already legendary in the sport. It's the punch that put Jamahal Hill to sleep, the punch that ended Jiri Prochaska's night, the punch that's become his signature weapon. Now imagine that same punch with an extra 25 pounds of natural body weight behind it. We're not talking about a knockout punch anymore, we're talking about a potentially career-ending weapon. And the accuracy that Pereira has developed over years of fighting at the highest level means that punch is going to find its target more often than not. Here's what makes this even more terrifying for anyone who has to face Pereira at heavyweight. His fight IQ has been developing constantly throughout his UFC career. Early in his UFC run, he was primarily a knockout artist who relied on power and timing. But watch his recent fights, and you'll see a complete fighter who's learned to set up his power shots, who understands distance and timing at an elite level, who can adapt his strategy mid-fight based on what his opponent is giving him. That evolution of his fighting intelligence combined with heavyweight power is going to be absolutely devastating. And here's a reality check that nobody wants to acknowledge. The heavyweight division might not be ready for someone like Pereira. The division has operated at a certain pace and style for so long that the introduction of a fighter with his skill set could completely disrupt everything. We're talking about a guy who brings precision striking, elite-level fight IQ, championship experience, and now natural heavyweight power all in one package. That combination of skills has never existed in the heavyweight division before, and honestly, I'm not sure any of the current contenders have an answer for it.